Legal helpline right now.
800-257-3148. 800-257-3148. 800-257-3148. That's 800-257-3148.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 12 o'clock.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. 2 U.S. service members and 1 American civilian have been killed and 3 other people wounded in an ambush by the Islamic State terrorist group in central Syria. That's according to the U.S. Central Command. It said the attack on U.S. troops is the first to inflict casualties since the fall of Syrian President Bashar Assad a year ago. Foreigners who are allowed to come to the United States without a visa could soon be required to submit much more information.
The Trump administration is proposing a plan that would require foreigners to provide information about their social media, email accounts, and extensive family history to the Department of Homeland Security before being approved for travel. The announcement refers to travelers from more than 36 countries who take part in the visa waiver program, and it's part of the president's stepped-up monitoring of international travelers and immigrants. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Republican strategist Aaron McGuire says the economy is a top concern for voters and needs to be for Republicans if they're serious about winning in next year's midterm elections.
It's up to Republicans now to make sure that they are not losing that steam when it comes to delivering. It means talking about no tax on tips. It means talking about no tax on Social Security and overtime. It means talking about the economic engine that's being produced, because no longer are the American people buying that this is Joe Biden's economy or Democrats' fault. They're going to blame the party in power.
McGuire was interviewed on the Salem Radio Network. Getting trapped in quicksand is the stuff of old movies and TV, but it happened in real life this week in Utah's Arches National Park. Grand County first responder John Marshall helped out with the recovery.
We laid the ladder down, brought out the traction boards, we were able to lay those down, and now we had a firm platform in which we could work from.
And the experienced hiker was safely recovered. More from townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-366-6161. That's 800-366-6161. 800-366-6161.
Education Secretary Linda McMahon says President Trump is attacking a failing American education system head on.
This is not acceptable. We cannot be seen not only what we see across the country, but also where we fall on international rankings.
Today is Wreaths Across America Day. Military affairs analyst, retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis.
What this does is to remind all Americans that freedom is purchased by the sacrifice of ordinary citizens who've been willing to answer the call. And of course, today we have a volunteer force, and we depend upon them to, do the hard, work of defending our interests here at home and abroad.
Donated green Christmas wreaths with distinctive red bows are set at grave sites by both family members and volunteers. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Ford is introducing new technology aimed at outsmarting vehicle thieves.
The automaker has introduced a feature in its popular F-150 pickups that prevent them from starting even if key fobs are present. Owners can use Ford's Start Inhibit to disable their F-150's engine from a smartphone. The pickup was in the top 10 of most stolen models over the first half of the year. Ford Secure General Manager Christian Moran says there are a lot of F-150s on the road, and thieves like those pickups. Rich Thomason reporting.
Days of torrential rain in Washington state have caused historic flooding, stranding families on their rooftops, in some cases washing water over bridges. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson says they do feel very fortunate. There have been no fatalities reported, and in many areas, the water is beginning to recede. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com.
Join your co-hosts Mike Tooman and Paul Burvid on our weekly radio hour, Chief Guard of the Republic, where we talk about all things national security, defense, personal security, safety, and dealing with law enforcement situations. Call in 847-931-1410. Ask us questions. We will get you answers. Every week, Saturday, noon to 1 on 1410 AM WRMN Elgin. Streaming on WRMN1410.com. Chat with us on WRMN's YouTube live channel.
Chicago defense attorney Mark Schieblo has co-authored the book titled DUI Jury Trial, which is a true story of a DUI case that he defended. The accused was an Illinois truck driver arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. This book contains facts about the case from the date of the arrest up to the jury's verdict, and this nonfiction novel also includes the transcripts from the jury trial itself. The book DUI Jury Trial is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home in Chicagoland? Need trusted legal help with real estate, evictions, or estate planning? Turn to Guthrie & Brady, the happy lawyers serving the greater Chicago area since 1965. With over 50 years of experience, they handle titles and deeds, foreclosures, landlord-tenant issues, wills, trusts, and more. Appointments available evenings or weekends at their Roselle office or right in your home. Call Guthrie & Brady now at 847-524-1215. That's 847-524-1215. Or visit gnblegal.com. Guthrie & Brady, personal, professional, affordable legal services for all of Chicagoland. The happy lawyers since 1965. That's gnblegal.com. Or 847-524-1215. Guthrie & Brady, trusted legal help made easy, fast, affordable, and experienced. Call today.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Looking to set sail on your dream vacation? Cruises International has you covered. Specializing in land and sea getaways, they're here to make your vacation unforgettable. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, they offer personalized service with a global network of specialists to ensure your trip is tailor-made just for you. Call today at 800-255-7447 to speak with a cruise and vacation expert. And don't miss Travel Tuesdays on WRMN AM 1410 every first Tuesday of the month from 11 to 12 p.m. on Out to Lunch. That's Cruises International. Your vacation, your way.
Systems run everything. Government, economy, media, justice. They shape your choices, your opportunities, your future. But do they work for you or against you? On Apolitical Talk Show, we break them down. Not to destroy, but to understand. Because if you don't see how the system works, you won't see when it's being manipulated or who's benefiting from it. Power belongs to those who know the rules, challenge the loopholes, and demand accountability. That starts with knowledge. That starts here. Join us weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. as we uncover what's really happening behind the headlines so you can decide for yourself what's fair, what's broken, and what needs to change. Apolitical Talk Show, breaking down the systems to build them up together. Right here, weekdays 4 to 6 on WRMN, the talk of the town.
Six Bayonets, comrades. This is Chief Gardner Republic Radio Show with your co-hosts Mike Tooman and Paul Burvid. Every Saturday, noon to 2 on WRMN, 1410 AM, Fox River Valley Media Network. Streaming on WRMN1410.com. Studio number here is 847-931-1410, or you could text us in on the Magic New Mexico text line, 505-926-1410, or hit us up in the YouTube live comments on the WRMN 1410 channel. Check out all of our previous shows on cgr.silink.net. So cgr.psylink.net. All right, hey Paul.
Hey Mike, how are you?
I'm kind of physically ill, not because of any sickness or virus or infection or anything but that, but just something that happened in the news this week. In that they signed a bill authorizing, and you can see me with the air quotes here, only limited and specific situations for assisted suicide. And it makes me sad when the government has such lack of care about the people that they're supposed to protect, that they just go and say, hey, if you want to kill yourself, we found a way to let you do it. It's okay. But they say it's only in limited and specific circumstances. When the government says something is limited and specific, they mean we got our foot in the door and now we're going to throw it wide enough open for an entire train full of circus elephants to get through. What do you think?
You're absolutely correct. You know what just happened, to be honest with you?
Yeah.
Grandma just got run over by JB walking home from our house Christmas Eve, because that's what's going to happen. And it's going to be people that are mentally challenged, people that have issues, people that just need to get out and see some sun. And as the younger people say, touch some grass and walk. And it's going to be people that just can't cope, and they're going to be ending their lives unnecessarily. And it's like everything diabolical from every bad thing in history and every bad journal. It's like they're raising the people on the top of the planet to eat them at the bottom of the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Morlocks. They're Morlocks.
It's exactly right. And whoever, this can truly tell you, this is a dude or dudes or dudettes that have no concept of what a
human
higher
compassion.
Authority is. Yeah, they have no concept of what a higher authority is, because it's pretty bad. I mean, they even let people that are like mentally challenged do it in other countries. I think Canada and some Scandinavian countries. And when they passed the law in these countries, people were flying there, staying in the hotels, and they were finding people dead in the elevators, because they were, went there, vacation, their final trip, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that a major moral, industrialized, first world nation would resort to this.
Absolutely. It's like we've given up on your illness. We've given up on this. We've given up on that. Who's to say, all right, so this is, quote, human compassion, because, quote, there are a few people that were really suffering with a terminal at the time illness, all right, like a terminal at the time illness. They were really suffering with it. They couldn't take it anymore. It became a financial drain on them and the state, right? Became a financial drain on them, and they, destroying their family. They discussed it with their family, and then, they said no one else should go through that under those, quote, specific circumstances, right? So we're going to pass this law, and they mask it as their own human compassion. So they found the 1 in a billion. They found the 1 in a billion event, right? And they're going to say, we need to prevent this 1 in a billion event from ever happening to anyone else in the world. So we're going to pass this law, and we're going to open the gates for this, right? And it seems like this gate is very narrow. But I remember, this is, people will say this is apples and oranges, or maybe I'm oversimplifying it. But as a police officer, we used to get free medical from the city, absolutely free. We paid nothing, all right? But we went out and dealt with the most dirty, disgusting people in challenged circumstances, people that were in a bad way, and they weren't often very healthy, and the little kids weren't often very healthy. And you're going into this group, and you're bringing home everything. You're getting sick, you get that. Then you get into fights. Then you go into areas that you're not familiar with, and you might fall and get hurt, And that's that's the risk of the job. But because you have this full coverage medical insurance, the city's saying, okay, well, you're good. Now, you could always claim IOD, injured on duty, and then have the city pay for this. However, how do you prove, you got the flu from some passing piss bum, right? You got the flu from dealing with him, and now you're off for a couple of days, and you got to go to the doctor. Oh, well, that's on you now. That's your medical insurance, and you got to pay the co-pays, and you got to pay this. But before, the city was like, you don't have to pay anything because we're covering your insurance. Then the city in the contract negotiations go, well, we just want them to cover $2, like just a token amount. So people can't say that the police officers aren't paying their fair share or whatever, right? Well, our fair share is that we go out there and deal with people that no one else does. But they said $2, and I stood up. I was livid, right? And I says, you can't do that. You're opening the door. You give them $2 now, the next contract, it goes up. And sure enough, they give you a pay raise, but they would take that all back in insurance because the city's self-insured. So they just raised that, and it's like, hey, I'm paying for the privilege now of working for the police department. So that's what's going to happen with this, is they got the little door open, and now they're going to say, but what about this group of people? What about that group of people? What about the right to pursue happiness? And I don't have happiness in my life, so I want to find it in the afterlife. If there is an afterlife, right? What all these things come through, that's why you can never open the door. You can never open a Pandora's box like that. So I have to look at it, and my logic is, one, are these guys smart? Are they evil? Do they have an agenda? Just because they have an agenda doesn't make them smart, right? But it looks like this. It looks like they know what they're doing. And they jumped on this because in the future, they do want control of when your life ends. Right? And you know how we have, hey, Ryan. Ryan's out there at the door looking forlorn. Ryan's Matt's brother. These guys, Matt's my producer. Anyway, so
you know what?
Logan's Run, right? Everyone's going to go at 30. You know
what I have to say to this? It's real simple. I've said this to other people before. No matter what, Soylent Green is people.
Yeah.
And
that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Soylent Green happened in 2022, according to the movie.
Right. But Soylent Green is people, okay? And you take that two ways. It's people in the cakes, but it applies to people, and that's what they've done. They've just they're and anything. I'm not trying to be funny, But anything that's for the betterment of the state and not for the people is not a good thing.
Absolutely. Because the state is evil.
Well, the state works for the people.
Supposed to work for the people. It's supposed to work for the people.
Right. Well, that's our Constitution. The state works for the people. The people aren't working for the state. That's what the problem is. And the state, whatever it is, the swamp, the state, those people, them, whoever they are, they work for us. Okay. We don't work for them. Okay. And until they get that, we're going to have stuff like this.
Yeah. And just like, here's the same thing, right? And, we discussed it with the dude, the guy, the terrorist that shot the 2 National Guardsmen, right? Mm-hmm. And the death penalty, where I am against the death penalty because I have to keep my logic even and sane, all right? And it's not logic, it's also philosophy and theology, right? Because what we have is what I believe in, all right? And what we have, because my belief is my faith, and my faith is, you're not going to convince me otherwise. So we don't know when someone is going to redeem themselves, when someone's going to have that flash of clarity, all right? That flash of knowledge, all right? In a relationship with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, right? It have that flash of knowledge, right? That says, hey, I was living a wrong life. I was living for myself, and I was, my soul was bad. So if you, as a human being, kill this person for their crimes, and truly, some of these people do deserve death for their crimes. Those are horrid, absolute, awful crimes. They deserve death for them, all right? But once you get them under control, you have them in a controlled environment in prison, and you separate them from society, then why are you killing them? Supposedly, they're no longer a danger to anyone except the people in the prison with them. All right. So with a small child, a preborn child, a human being, and abortion, right? Abortion, a human being and abortion like that, you have just destroyed all the potential. All right. A brick sitting at the top of the Sears Tower. Yeah, Willis Tower. I'm going to call it the Sears Tower, right? A brick sitting up there. People don't even know what Sears is anymore. But a brick that was sitting up there at the top has a potential of energy. Right now, it's just sitting. It's laying there. It's like doing nothing. It's not moving or anything. But if you give it a little itty bitty push, it falls off the tower and starts falling down and gaining momentum and gaining speed. And we know that velocity times mass is equal to force, all right? Which can create enough force to put a big giant crater in the street. But it was just a brick sitting up there before. So when you have a potential of life, you have a potential of great things, but you also have a potential of bad things to happen with this. But that's it. That's the choice of life, right? Goes one way or another. So you're destroying that potential. Who gives you that right to destroy that potential? That's a potential that God, the Creator, put in that, in a soul, which is going to grow up to be a sentient soul. Now, some of these bodies, right? The bodies may be not optimal. All right, you might have Down syndrome, which is a common reason that people claim that they want to have abortions, right? You have doctors that say your child is going to be born with all this problems and everything, and he's not going to live till the age of 3, and why just keep it? And then the child's born, and it's perfectly healthy at 79 years old. But the doctor, who's not omniscient, right, has said that it's our belief through these chemical tests and everything else that, and they're wrong, right? They could be wrong. But how do you prove it if you destroy the evidence or don't give that potential? So the other thing is, when you have an end-of-life thing, and this person is going through real hard times, I'm sorry for that. I pray for that. I pray that doesn't happen to me, anyone I know, or anybody. I wish no torture on anyone, because that's what Jesus tells me to do. Not wish torture on people, not wish pain on people. But let's say the person dies, to commit suicide, right? And they die, and they go, and he goes through to the coroner, and they do a blood test, and a guy goes, "Oh, this guy had a chemical imbalance that could have been cured with vitamin B12." Right? A simple thing like that, right? And you go, we didn't know that. Well, have you gone to the absolute extremes on that? And who knows, the day after, they may have the cure. Oh, look I discovered a cure. And this person could have been a test case for that cure. That's why you can't open that Pandora's box. You have to have 2 doctors. Oh, well, it looks like I'm going to have 2 envelopes. You know what I mean, Paul, right?
Oh, yeah.
You really want to go through this. All I need is 2 envelopes.
They'll go to the ends of the earth for the rat bastard murderer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look at what they're doing for the guy that was supposed to be deported years ago. The wife beater, the human trafficker, all right? And anything other, the gangbanger and everything, not even a legal citizen. They're going to deport him, and they're all coming to bat for him because, oh, look, he's just a Maryland man. They use those, they work.
I told you many years ago, I had an ex-former president from the Chicago was going to bat for this guy that had been convicted of murder several times, and he had and like I said, the guy eventually pled guilty. He was, quote, one of the Burge cases, but Burge wasn't even there. But they went to, you wouldn't believe who came to bat for him, besides the president guy, media personalities, people that had shows with book clubs. They didn't go to bat for people that needed operations and stuff like that.
Yeah, they left a Marine in Mexico for years.
Right.
A Marine. Who knows what he did wrong there? But, he wouldn't even, if he did it wrong in the United States, he would have got less than a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
But no one went to bat for that guy saying, hey, you got one of our Marines. Let him go. But yeah, what they pick and choose is through the fields, and honestly, they absolutely do a check of their base, and they play to their base, which is not, you want a person, I want a person in office that's not only smarter than me, not too difficult, smarter than me, but sees things from a view I haven't seen before and can explain it to me so I could oh, well, that makes sense. All right. I want to have confidence in my leadership to know that they could do a better job than I'd be able to do there. And I think a lot of them in the past few years, I'm like, I could do a better job. Why? Because I can't be bribed. I don't care about the money. I can't be bribed. I'm not going to insider trade. I'm not going to protect anyone. Right? That's why you'll never get in there. That's why people get blocked in Congress. So are we ready for commercial?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
A minute.
So, so when we come back, we originally wanted to talk about, it came down to Venezuela stuff, right, Paul?
Right.
Yeah, and other things. And you were telling me a story yesterday. We could bring that up on the show, and I can explain it more in depth. I did a little bit more research on it, right? But I am an expert. That was my military job, human intelligence and interrogator. So I am the subject matter expert for the Geneva Conventions and treating prisoners of war and other detainees. So we'll be back in a few minutes after these messages from our fine sponsors. Want to read some action-packed, exciting pulp fiction? Read the works of Michael Tooman, now featuring the international crime thriller, I Married a Bot Madam. Available on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle editions. The paperback is also available at other book retailers. Check out Michael Tooman's webpage at Scilink.net. That's Papa, Sierra, Yankee, Lima, India, November, Kilo, dot, November, Echo, Tango.
Elgin isn't just a city. It's a community built on connection, innovation, and opportunity. And at the heart of it all is the Elgin Chamber of Commerce. For over a century, the Elgin Chamber has helped local businesses grow, connecting entrepreneurs, advocating for progress, and inspiring the leaders of tomorrow. Whether you're a new business just starting out or an established company looking to expand, the Elgin Chamber is your partner for success. Join a powerful network of leaders making a difference in our community every day. Together, we're shaping the future of Elgin, one connection at a time. Elgin Area Chamber of Commerce, where business and community grow together. Call now, 847-741-5660, or go to info@elginchamber.com. Contact Carol Gieske.
Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now at Insight Mental Health and Wellness. We can help and treat all types of depression and mental issues. We'll help you use your insurance to get away from it all to a beautiful, sunny, and tranquil vacation-like environment so you can recharge yourself. And with a Family Medical Leave Act, you could take the time off you need from work. Plus, with the Affordable Care Act, your treatment could be 100% covered. If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem, use your insurance and get away from it all. Come to sunny California. Call Insight Mental Health and Wellness now. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. That's 800-419-0287.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Join your co-hosts Mike Tooman and Paul Burvitt on our weekly radio hour, Chief Guard of the Republic, where we talk about all things national security, defense, personal security, safety, and dealing with law enforcement situations. Call in 847-931-1410. Ask us questions. We will get you answers. Every week, Saturday, noon to 1 on 1410 AM WRMN Elgin. Streaming on WRMN1410.com. Chat with us on WRMN's YouTube live channel. Fix Bayonets, comrades, we're back for the second quarter of the Chief Guard of the Republic radio show with your co-hosts Mike Tooman and Paul Burvitt every Saturday, noon until 2. And if you listen to us, you know we're on WRMN 1410.com, the Fox River Valley Media Network. I guess I got to get a list of all those Fox River Valley media stuff.
Yeah.
To know where we fit on the flow chart, you know. And I hope you're watching us on YouTube, the YouTube Live, WRMN 1410 channel for YouTube Live. They show us live, and they also store some of the shows. I don't know how long they store them for, how much space they have.
It's there forever.
Really?
Unless we delete it or something.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. But when I upload them on our page, the Chief Guard of the Republic, cgr.silink.net, all right, I take out all the commercials. Unless you're a sponsor and you want to sponsor us, then I'll leave those commercials in. And then anyone that watches the show, you know, on my YouTube channel, they'll have the sponsors there. If you want to be a sponsor, I can mention you. And here, I'm going to give a shout out, because I didn't do a shout out right off the bat, but I'm going to give a shout out for the Dunkin' Donuts veterans. And let me see. I'm going to give this card to Matt and see if he can upload it somehow. So when I do these things, there we go.
Are you going to time me?
No, I know you could do it. You know, so okay. So Dunkin' Donuts veterans. It's every Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, and this Tuesday we're having a Dunkin' Donuts veterans breakfast, but we're doing it at Cappy's Restaurant on Dempster and Harlem. So the owner over there, I think he's the mayor of Niles. Great guy. So once or twice a year, I think once a year, we go over there for breakfast, and he feeds all the veterans for free. I mean, he has some set things, like pancakes or eggs and stuff. You have a set, like 3 items that you can order. There we go. 7039 Dempster. All right. My boys from Dunkin' Donuts veterans, if they see this, I hope they're quite impressed. All right. So going back, we'll go to Cappy's, and the main thing is, like, I go there and I have a free breakfast, and then I tip $20 because that all goes to his serving staff, right? And probably split it with the cooks, which is a great Christmas bonus for them, you know, because all the veterans are tipping these guys, probably more than the meal cost. But you know, these are great. These are great veterans that meet there. Don't got a problem with any one of them, and if I do, I try to solve that problem. All right, just like. And it's like everywhere else in the veteran community, like the American Legion, we're not political. If someone starts talking politics, we shut them up. Because there's people that have different points of view, but that point of view doesn't count when it comes to veterans. The only point of view we want is veterans' point of view. So we shut them down about that stuff. So if you're afraid that we're all right wing, so far right wing that we're almost left, you know, or so far left wing that we're almost right, that's not the case at the meetings. You know, we keep our opinions on that stuff to ourselves. So it's no reason not to show up. It's no reason not to join a veterans organization. I know a lot of people there think, oh, they're all a bunch of right-wing fuddy-duddies that all voted for Trump. That's not true. There are a lot of guys out there that I met one of them at the VA. So that's one shout out. The other shout out is the Blue Box Cafe, where I got my coffee and I had a Hoovian, which is like a ham and egg sandwich, melted, you know, on panini press. Oh, really nice, really good. But go over there. It's on Chicago Avenue, right by the radio station. So if you want a nice cup of coffee given to you by served up to you by nice people, it's great. But they don't really have decaf. You got to go with some tea if you want decaf. So. Yeah, there we go. Blue Box Cafe, one of my favorite places.
I love the Gobbler. Have you had that?
I have not. I'll try it one day, though.
It's good.
All right. So, all right. So, Paul, tell me the story about the dude that was giving you issues
about.
So this is happening with some people that were previously I thought were friends and people that I worked with a little bit. So anyway, I was asked what our topic was going to be on the show, and obviously they don't listen to it, and to a certain extent my family's part of this too. And I said we were going to cover the concept of embargoes and things like that, and then I was asked what my opinion of it is, and I said, I don't care one way or another. I said, there have been embargoes of Japan, maybe led to World War II. There have been embargoes of Cuba, maybe, prevented a world crisis. So we're just going to talk about embargoes. And then it drifted off into the boat where the two people were allegedly attacked and then attacked again in the water. And, I point, and you know this, I pointed out that I had at one time been going to be an officer in the judge advocate. In fact, I did the whole correspondence, and I have like 50 hours of military law and basics, and I had the certificates still. I still keep them, because technically I never accepted the commission, and so I kept it. And I said, well, I said, it's a whole different thing when the military's involved. And I said that, if somebody's there, they have to, they have to render aid after the engagement's over. And I was berated and called some names for that. And, I told them, I said, the military's a part of, the law of the sea, Geneva Conventions and stuff like that. And I said that you have to render aid. And I said, any ship in the ocean. And he goes, oh, I don't think so. I don't think a cruise ship has to do that.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Yeah, and I was, and it's sad because I really had helped this guy in the past, and he was very belligerent, and it came down to like I don't value him and I'm wrong, and he sent me some BS thing about the drug convention of 1999. And, I pointed out to him that the Geneva Convention's been in existence since around
1849.
The 1900s. Well, but
the first Geneva Convention was 1849.
That's what I said. And I sent him, because on my military stuff, I got like hundreds, 98s, and I have like almost 50 hours. And then I said, the UCMJ, they might alter it, but it really doesn't. The basics don't change. And he was in law enforcement at one time, and he's telling me the laws change. Well, I tried to explain to him, this is my last version of the Illinois Criminal Code. It's not the latest one, but it's like 2010. But if you look, this all came from the Model Penal Code of 1961, 63. And every law in here, it says 1961. And when I told him that, it was very belligerent and it was really sad. And, I told him that, it's pretty clear. I mean, I'm not saying that, and in fact, they're drug dealers. This doesn't apply to them. Well, if there's a military, and, we picked up Japanese we shot down. We picked up Germans we shot down. We've picked up, people we submarined. I mean, you don't have to put yourself in danger.
Yes, that's the key point. That's the key. When it comes down to the key point of maritime law and assisting mariners and ships in distress, all right? The main thing is that you're extremely strongly told that you should go there, but there is a commander's discretion that if it's not safe, and going back to World War II, again, there's nothing to watch on television, Paul. I'm like, there's really nothing, and I don't want to go through, the X-Files again, binge watch the X-Files again, or binge watch the Blacklist again, or something like that. So I've taken to watching these YouTube videos, all right?
And I've been getting a lot of World War II stuff, in particular, some destroyer battles in the Pacific between the U.S. and the Japanese. And one of the things is that they would, Japanese lost a lot of destroyers, and then they left one destroyer behind to pick up survivors. But that destroyer thought that, it's getting towards daylight and the aircraft might be coming. So they left their own survivors in the water, right? And they fled the scene. Okay. Now, if an American ship was there and those survivors are still in the water, and the American commander didn't believe that he was in danger of a Japanese counterattack with submarines or aircraft, right? He should stay in the area and get all the survivors out. Let's say a Japanese submarine is off the coast of San Diego or San Francisco or something, right? And a coastal watch blimp goes up there and drops step charges on it. And the submarine surfaces, but it's only surfaces for a short time because it's getting ready to sink, right? And the sailors start jumping off. Well, you know where those sailors are. They are now shipwrecked. They're no longer enemy combatants. And they're shipwrecked now. So it's maritime law, even against belligerents there, and it's only human decency to go and get those guys out of the water, because really, at the coast like that, you're not in danger. Even though the Japanese in World War II were extreme, the U.S. was not very friendly to them, right, for the things that they did on Wake Island and the Bataan Death March and numerous other atrocities. We still have to be the good guys in the white hats. So we got a call. Let's take our caller here.
Hey, Mike and Paul. How you doing?
Hey, Larry.
Hey, Larry. I saw that same video and on YouTube about the Japanese destroyer that left the scene. But I'd like you guys' opinion on something. This has made the news. Did you hear about the guy in Atlanta who shot the porch pirates?
He shot him.
Yeah, he shot two apparently. It was some guy who was a cook. There were two porch pirates who were following, I guess, like an Amazon truck or whatever. They went into this property. One was two kids, 16 and 15, and he shot him. He wounded them both, but the Atlanta police are going to charge him with, they're saying, how do you feel about that? When you think about it, is somebody's life worth over $100 that they stole from you? But I'd like to hear your opinions about. If you could look it up.
Just on that, I haven't seen the video, so I don't know, and I don't know what's involved. If these kids were armed, or if they acted like they were armed, or if they said they were armed, or if they said this guy, "I'm going to shoot you," or "We're going to come back and end you, old man," or something like that, which would put him in imminent fear of receiving a battery or imminent fear of death, and then he struck back to prevent that from happening. So I can't really make this is one that's going to have to go to the jury. Me myself, that's property. That's not life-saving medication on my front porch. That's some stupid Chinese crap. Not everything you order on Amazon is stupid Chinese crap, but that's just some stupid crap. All right? And if the kids take it and everything, God bless them. Run away with it. I don't care. But,
Larry, I'm a licensed concealed carry instructor, and this comes up all the time, and it's actually in the code. It's called the law of self-defense in Illinois.
Yeah, but he's talking about Georgia, so we
Yeah, but generally,
if it happened in Illinois,
generally, this is pretty much all over though. Generally, because this issue has come up before. If you can never kill anybody just for property, okay? And if it's property, like this would come up in every single class. Now, and I would use these two examples just so you know. So if you're filling up your car and there's no wife or kid in the car, and they want to jack your car and you're away from the car, you can't shoot them, okay? But if you're at the car and they approach you and, like Mike says, they make threats or they lay hands on you, that's a different story. You're there. You're not property. Okay? So that's a whole new ball game. And then the other one is the most common one that I talk about. Say you're out and you come back and you notice your front door's open and everybody that lives in your house is with you in the car, okay? You can't go in the house, okay? Because once you go in the house, if they're still in there, you've gone in there for a property matter, okay? But if you think your kid's in the house or you hear screaming, hypothetically, something like that, that's a different story. But once you enter the area, you could have stayed out, called the police. So if you know,
it's a reasonable man. It's a reasonable man argument,
right? You can never kill anybody over property or just stealing stuff on your front porch.
Well, okay, legally as a concealed carry guy, you can't do that. In the military, over property, there's a different thing there. All right. There's also a thing, it's a forcible felony. It's got to be burglary is a forcible felony. All right. Okay. So as a police officer, it's not city policy, but state law says if I'm in a building, I could shoot a burglar because it's a forcible felony, unless they changed what the definition of a forcible felony. All right. Well, so forcible felony involving death or great bodily harm. You used to be able to shoot auto thieves in the back. You could shoot a fleeing felon in the back.
Or in a violent or tumultuous manner is the way the statute reads.
Yes. So let me get this out of the way real quick now. Thank you, Larry.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Oh man. Where's my? I'm looking for my disclaimer. Maybe I don't have the disclaimer.
The information on this show is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal advice on any subject matter. The views put forward on this show are the opinions of the host, Michael Tuman and Paul Burvitt, guest hosts, their guests, callers, and not necessarily those of WRMN 1410 AM.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. And Paul's a lawyer, so he knows that. So we're not giving legal advice out here, but we are giving our professional opinions. All right. Some of those opinions actually reflect fact, but that's up to you to look up or to hire someone to tell you that.
And they also reflect experience, because I was on both sides, both the defense and also the prosecution.
Yeah, and I've been on the other side of the law. Traffic. Anyway, so all right, so when we're talking back with the Venezuela thing, all right, so the discussion comes to, they call them shipwrecked sailors. I love this. He's a shipwrecked sailor, all right? Okay, he's a shipwrecked sailor.
Who caused the shipwreck?
All right, so a sailor, all right, so they're describing him as a sailor, but what type of sailor is he? All right, who does he work for? All right, who does he work for? He's doing something. Does he actually own that boat? Is that boat flagged under Venezuelan law? All right, is it flagged to Venezuela, or is it an unmarked boat, unlicensed, unregistered boat? Guess what my guess would be, Paul?
Unlicensed.
Unlicensed, unregistered, unmarked, which means he's a
pirate.
Sailor without a flag. All right? Now, not all people without flags become, pirates, right? But, all right, so fishing, you get some less than modern people that have their own fishing boats that don't have numbers or anything, and they usually involve oars, and they usually stay kind of close to shore when they do their fishing, right? But what you have here is a non-state actor, So if this was Venezuelan naval flotilla boats, fast boats, we had not PBYs, PT boats.
PBRs.
That's PBR. Good brand. Rebought. All right. They actually bought the branding. It's a different recipe from when I was a kid. You know, old style, same recipe from when I was a kid. This one's
Patrol boat River.
No, okay, no, but the PT boats like JFK, PT 109. All right. So those are, they're considerable. They're 80-foot boats. All right. But they're made out of wood, plywood. All right. And they have 3 engines in them. 3 very powerful engines. But, all right, they're not what you would consider a giant naval flotilla. The Iranians have used small, fast boats as a naval flotilla. Remember when they surrounded one of our boats, and these guys did not have adequate, decisive leadership that caused them to become captured, right? And it was very humiliating for the U.S.
The USS Pueblo.
No, that's North Korea.
Oh.
All right. So they were actually on a naval ship. All right. They weren't faking anything. They were on a naval ship. They didn't expect to be surrounded by fast North Korean boats that boarded them. All right. They weren't ready for that. But we're talking about in the Gulf of whatever, Hormuz or anything. The Gulf where the Iranians have the border, so they could prevent they could try to prevent
the flow of oil
shipping.
And commerce.
All right. So they have small, fast boats, but those are Iranian Navy, and Iran has a Navy, and they actually acted 2 minutes, as a military thing, right? This isn't. The Venezuela hasn't said, "Hey, you're sinking our naval vessels." Have they said that yet?
I haven't heard that. No.
They're not. They haven't claimed that they're their Navy vessels, right? They're part of their Navy. That these were their troops, because the reason these things are going out now, because they're working not for Venezuela, they're coming out of Venezuela, but there are non-state actors. So they're cartel, they're organized crime. All right, their leadership and everything is based on organized crime, international crime. So what they do might not be illegal in the country they're operating out of, but getting that stuff into the United States, we consider that illegal. So we treat it as, we have under Title 46 of the U.S. Code, it covers this, right? So we have authority to board these ships. If these ships refuse to be boarded, we have the authority to destroy them. We consider them illegal enemy combatants, right? Illegal enemy combatants. They're non-state actors. We said that these narco traffickers are terrorists, all right? So they're like actually in combat against the United States, only their weapon is chemical, all right? And it's not directly attacking us, but it's weakening our national defense by weakening our pool of manpower from the United States, killing people off with fentanyl. Oh, but they don't make fentanyl in Venezuela. Oh, no, but I remember when a president said we had to go into Haiti in 1994. Do the math on that one, which president said it, because Haiti was a way station for narco terrorism. All right. And we're taking another break. And when we come back, the second half of the Chief Guard of the Republic radio show. Want to read some action-packed, exciting pulp fiction? Read the works of Michael Tooman, now featuring the international crime thriller,
I Married a Bot Madam. Available on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle editions. The paperback is also available at other book retailers. Check out Michael Tuman's webpage at Scilink.net. That's Papa Sierra Yankee Lima India November Kilo dot November Echo Tango. Join your co-hosts Mike Tuman and Paul Burvitt on our weekly radio hour, Chief Guard of the Republic, where we talk about all things national security, defense, personal security, safety, and dealing with law enforcement situations. Call in 847-931-1410. Ask us questions. We will get you answers. Every week, Saturday, noon to 1 on 1410 AM WRMN Elgin. Streaming on WRMN1410.com. Chat with us on WRMN's YouTube live channel.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 1 o'clock.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. 2 U.S. service members and 1 American civilian have been killed and 3 other people wounded in an ambush by the Islamic State terrorist group in central Syria. The U.S. Central Command notes that today's attack on U.S. troops is the first to inflict casualties since the fall of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad a year ago. Days of torrential rain still having an impact on Washington state.
What's described as an atmospheric river is causing historic flooding in Washington state, stranding families, washing over roads and bridges, and cutting off a border crossing to Canada.
This is something that the people of the state of Washington have not faced before, this level of flooding.
Washington Governor Bob Ferguson spoke at a news conference in Tukwila Friday afternoon.
The situation is extremely unpredictable.
The governor says he's grateful to President Trump, who has signed an emergency declaration. I'm Jennifer King.
And also at townhall.com, the floodwaters are receding across western Washington today. That's easing pressure on levees and allowing cleanup to begin. Getting trapped in quicksand may sound like something out of the movies and old TV shows, but it can and sometimes does happen in real life, and it happened this week in Utah's Arches National Park. Emergency responder John Marshall helped with the rescue.
When you hear something that only happens, essentially every 10 or 15 years, it kind of makes you scratch your head and say, is this what I heard? And sure enough, that's exactly what we heard.
The Justice Department has filed lawsuits against multiple states for failing to provide their statewide voter registration list. Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights Harmeet Dillon says it's all about trying to uphold election integrity.
It's free for states to check their voter rolls for dead people, for non-citizens, and they have a duty to do that.
And she says not everybody wants to. The Justice Department has already sued states like Delaware, Maryland, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher. The holidays are right around the corner, and you know what that means. Travel, gifts, family gatherings, and a whole lot of spending. Here's a way to get ahead of it all. Call my friends Mike and Brian and the team at Fellowship Home Loans. Rates have dropped again. That means you could refinance, lower your monthly payment, even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. That's right, 2 months with no mortgage payment. Put away the checkbook. Keep that money for the holidays. You won't be making any more payments till 2026. Maybe you're not looking to refinance, but you need access to cash. Well, Fellowship now offers their own HELOC and line of credit. Approval just takes a few minutes, and you can have funds in your account in as little as 4 days. Use it to pay off bills, finish a renovation, or simply get ready for the new year. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Some serious questions about aviation safety are dogging a massive defense bill that's now before Congress.
The 3,000-page National Defense Authorization Bill was passed Wednesday by the House, but senators are pushing for changes. Federal crash investigators and victims' families warned that provisions in the legislation would make flying less safe. The bill currently allows military helicopters to fly without broadcasting their locations, which would undo reforms put in place after January's deadly collision between a passenger plane and a military helicopter over Washington, D.C. Jennifer King, Washington.
President Trump this week signed an executive order pressuring states not to regulate artificial intelligence. Trump and many Republicans argue the limited regulations already enacted by states and others that could follow might dampen innovation and growth for the key area of technology. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Correspondent Ed Donahue has a royal health update.
The king is 77, and almost 2 years ago, he announced he would undergo treatment for an undisclosed type of cancer.
I am able to share with you the good news that thanks to early diagnosis, effective intervention, and adherence to doctor's orders, my own schedule of cancer treatment can be reduced in the new year.
The king's message was part of a broadcast in Britain to encourage people to take advantage of screening that can detect cancer in its early stages when it's easiest to treat. He says it worked for him,
enabling me to continue leading a full and active life, even while undergoing treatment.
I'm Ed Donahue.
A GOP package on health care excludes Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies, sparking pushback from some moderates. Leadership signals a possible floor vote on the Obamacare subsidies sometime soon. More on these stories at townhall.com.
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, the Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
Fix Bayonets, comrades, we're back with the Chief Guard of the Republic radio show with your co-hosts Mike Tuman and Paul Burvitt. Every Saturday, noon until 2. This is the second half, the 1 until 2 show. And we finally gotten into talking about the boats and stuff in Venezuela. And we're probably move on a little bit to the embargo thing. But, all right, so I use the term illegal enemy combatant. And that is from a non-state actor. These are words that people might not understand, you know, but it boils down to a terrorist is a non-state actor and an illegal enemy combatant. All right, so you could just use terrorist. Now, are some terrorists funded by an actual state? Yes, like Iran funds Hamas, right? And other countries form various other terrorist organizations. We fund the United States and indirectly through its own citizenship funds the terrorist organization known as the Gangster Disciples by allowing them to operate.
Good one, Mike. Good one.
Yeah. All right. They're terrorist they're just drug dealers. No, they're terrorists. All right. They're illegal enemy combatants. They're seeking to undermine the strength of the United States. They're a detriment to our national defense because our national defense is ultimately based on the ability of our fighting age people to fight. And if you destroy even a small percentage of that with drugs, all right, putting people into poor health through poverty, that destroys the thing. So they're terrorists. They don't fall under the Geneva Conventions. They're a terrorist. They have no standing under Geneva Conventions. They have a standing only that they are a human being. They're humans. All right. The United States, and I have personal knowledge of this, having worked in Afghanistan as the chief interrogator at the Bagram Theater Intelligence Facility, right? Personal knowledge that we treat even the terrorists with discretion on the Geneva Convention. So they are, although they are not entitled to protections under the Geneva Conventions, we give them the same protections we would give a normal prisoner of war under the Geneva Conventions. Because, A, why risk it, you know? And one, we're actually...
And we're better than that. We're the good guys.
People don't believe it, but we are the good guys. It doesn't look like it a lot of times, but we're the good guys. And if we're not the good guys, I guarantee you we're the least worst of the bad guys, because everyone else out there is a bad guy, but we're the least worst of them. That's my opinion. It's like we got the worst form of government in the United States, the absolute worst form of government, except for every other form of government out there. You know, that's like any form of government is terrible. It all goes there. So now we got these guys, these Venezuelans, right? And we have said that the narco traffickers, all right, are terrorists. It's a terrorist organization. They use narcotics as their weapon of terror. They use money. They kill their opponents so they could operate everywhere. They're a terrorist organization. They're a non-state actor. So their employees do not fall under a Geneva Convention because they are not part of a standing army or part of a militia. Although some of them might claim to be a militia, but you know, their ultimate funding comes from narco-terrorism, although they claim to be a militia. The other one that falls under is mercenaries. So if they're working for hire and they're like not from that country and they're hired out, like what's the most recent thing? So a lot of the guys with a lot of the guys in the Ukrainian war that fought with the I'm getting the other side of the coin. Trying to think why can't I remember this name? It's not the Azov battalion. It was the they went back and invaded Russia, which was funny. And they took their
the Wagner group.
The Wagner, that's what, because it was a German name. That's the Wagner group, right? The Wagner group. Right. So those guys are like mercenaries, right? They don't receive, they have zero coverage. A mercenary has zero coverage under the Geneva Conventions. They're not considered a prisoner of war. And what you were saying, there's another thing, Paul, when we're talking about the guys over here, the terrorists over here that killed our guys, you know, espionage, right?
Right.
So they may or may not be considered prisoners of war. Right? So, you know, if they're a member of the military or the government hired and they're not in uniform, they're military, they're a spy, right? But if they're not in the military, then it might be considered different. Then you have guys that have what do you call it? When you jump the border, a lot of people from North Korea, East Germany, they're defectors. Like defectors come over, surrender, people that surrender, all right? They come over and they said, I don't want to fight anymore, I'm turning myself in. Those guys get prisoner of war status. Now, a guy that's standing at the fort, right? At the door to the fort with the enemy, he's part of the enemy, and he opens up the door and says, come on in, guys, just treat me okay. That guy does not get prisoner of war status, even though you take him in. He has betrayed his guys. He is not a prisoner of war. They consider himself a betrayer. They're very distinctions. There's a lot of distinctions here. But let's go back to Venezuela here. These guys are not, Venezuela has not claimed them as part of their Navy. All right? Therefore, they're a non-state actor. We have, I'm very positive, we have the intelligence that we could backtrack these guys to the place where they got the fentanyl, to watch them loading the fentanyl on the boat, you know, to taking the fentanyl out to the ocean where they got told to stop and they got blown up. So, Paul, if a guy was carrying enough explosives to blow up a good corner of a port in Norfolk, that's on the Atlantic side, though. Let's say to blow up something in the port of Houston, right? He goes up to Houston. He's got enough explosives in that boat that if he hits Houston there, blows it up, or let's say New Orleans goes into the goes near the levees there and blows it up and does considerable damage, which will cause considerable life loss and everything. Do you let him actually get into national U.S. waters?
No, not at all.
If you know he had these explosives on the boat, do you? And he's a non-state actor, right? He's not part of the Venezuelan Navy or anything. Do you blow him up at the Venezuelan port and possibly damage a lot of civilian craft?
You try not to.
You let him get out in the open. If you're going to shoot a guy, what do you want to have?
You want no risk of collateral damage to innocents or nationalities.
You want a good backdrop behind him, not a crowd, maybe a brick wall, right? You want a clear shot. You want to make sure no one else is going to get hurt. So you let these guys get out into deep water because they're not getting away. They are not getting away. And you launch something on them. All right. So in the military, when they're teaching us, when they're testing us and training us with the pistol, right, the semi-automatic pistol, which is for use when everything's gone to crap, right? It's all gone to crap. So the first thing you want to do, right, if you're in the military and you see the enemy and he's far enough away and you want to get rid of the enemy, is you call in an airstrike. And maybe a B-52 flying up high drops a JDAMs, and you laser JDAMs onto the target, and boop, enemy's gone. Good, because they can't counter battery that JDAMs, right? Now, if you don't have the air support available, the next thing you're going to use is heavy artillery, right? Heavy artillery. Trouble is, once that heavy artillery fires, if you're up against a like-level competitor like North Korea, China, Russia, Great Britain, Canada, Mexico maybe. If you're up against a competitor like that, once you fire your heavy artillery, that heavy artillery has to move. They got to get out of the way because flashlights, lasers, tracer rounds, and artillery point in two directions, right back to you. So if they want, now they know where your artillery is, they counter battery you and destroy your artillery. All right. Next, if you can't get that close to them, right? If they're getting closer now you want to use your lighter artillery, your battalion mortars, all right? Maybe your mortar platoon in your company, right? Get them as far out as possible before now they're getting close. Now you use your rifles and your machine guns. You really don't want to use the machine gun right away because every military in the world trains that once the machine gun lights up, everyone goes for the machine gun. You go to get rid of that machine gun first, right? So you want to use that in key situations. Surprise the enemy, wipe out as much enemy as possible. Now they're within rifle range. Now, right? Somehow, mysteriously enough, you're in a town or something, and these guys got right up on you, and you can't use your rifle because you're out of ammunition with your rifle, or you can't swing it around, or it got dropped, right? Or you got one, now you come out with your pistol, all right? So everything has gone to dirt. And you bring out your pistol. They always teach you double tap. 1, 2. Well, you could have killed him with one bullet. But how could you be sure? Because you got to put this guy down. He's at close range. You don't want him getting up and fighting you again, right? You don't want to get him up. He might be wearing body armor. 2 to the body, 1 to the head. Ba-ba-bam, ba-ba-bam, right? Make sure that guy's down so you don't got to fight him again. Same thing out there. That's basic military practice. You got the boat out there, fire one round, there's the double tap round coming after it. And you're firing from a distance. Either you got a helicopter out there or you got a drone up there. Right? It doesn't take 1 second for that round to hit there. It might take a couple seconds. It might take a minute for that round to be coming in. That rocket, the missile to be coming in. All right, so 25 millimeter on some of our Coast Guard guns. That thing will fire like 500 rounds a minute. It's real hard to squeeze off one round at a time. You know, it's not a one-round loading thing. That's belt-fed. So, yeah, all right. So the boat blows up and then another round hits. Well, you know, that's common practice. I wasn't there. I wasn't the commander. I didn't know how they're ordering it, you know, but I would, what if one wouldn't explode? We had a big problem in World War II. That's another thing I'm getting from these YouTube videos, right, Paul, is that we had these wonderful torpedoes that the guys up in, I think it was Maine, or, you know, they developed these torpedoes and they said they're the best torpedoes ever, and we highly tested them and they're going to work and everything. And it turned out that if you hit at a 90-degree angle, you hit that ship 90 degrees, dead on with that torpedo, it did not fire. It went bonk, or it went bonk, and it busted through the later armored things like the destroyers or the destroyer escorts, you know, frigates, and would go in there and it wouldn't blow up. It would just be like something stuck in it, like an arrow stuck in the side of something. Rhinoceros, not doing anything, but causing a little problem, right? And they swore like mad that they had totally tested these things out. They lied. They didn't get that straightened out till 43. Yeah. And the only time they were exploding is when they hit on it like a 45-degree angle. Yeah, the glancing blow. Yeah, then they'd explode. But that wasn't the prime angle that you wanted to hit at, because now you got a deflected round. It's like sloped armor on a tank. That also presented problems for the torpedo bombers too, because they'd be coming in right on line. They're making good hits and they're getting blown up, and the torpedo's not doing anything. Because a bunch of our Dexter, Poindexter guys, you know, the brainiacs and the guys making the money, those torpedoes were $10,000 a piece. So of course they're going to say, oh, they're the best in the world. But minor thing that it took a guy, you know, a commander of the Navy, to just put his foot down and scream bloody murder, and then they figured out what it was, rather than these guys testing their own $10,000 torpedoes, because it costs you $10,000 to test it, right? Yeah. Every time you test one, that's what they're making off the government. So that's a waste of $10,000. That's the new summer home for the CEO, dude. Right. You know, don't blow one of those. Don't test one of those. And in 41, 42, you could get a real nice home for $10,000, man. So, all right. So make sure, you know, have redundancy. Belts and suspenders, right, Paul? Right. Belt and suspender. Belts is. You could tell, you know, I always could tell that someone who had never worked in the ghetto, right? Had never worked in the ghetto or anything, and they're talking about on the block and everything, and they're trying to talk with an accent or using the words. And I'd ask them one question. I'd go, what is the plural of policemen? And they go, it is a plural. I says, you never worked in the ghetto. Any ghetto kid will tell you it's policemen's. It's simple, right? I'm like, anyway, so, all right, so now you got these sailors in the water. Let's say one of them survives, right? One of them survives. Maritime says, all right, maritime law says that you should go get them. However, it's the commander's discretion whether he believes he's safe or not. Should I put down a whale boat, right? Or one of these rubber, you know, the fast, Zodiacs out there with a couple of my with one of my Coast Guard law enforcement guys and a couple of my, men at arms in the Navy. I think that's what they call like their MPs, right? That are trained, to go recover these guys. Maybe even a rescue guy and a Navy corpsman, all right? Go pull this guy out of the water. If it's safe, he should. But how far away is this Navy vessel, all right? How far away is the vessel? Now you got to go get another thing there. Is he on mission? And it's not just a love cruise there. He's on a mission. Can he leave his assigned point? All right? It's commander's discretion now. All right? Do we have rescue helicopters and rescue planes that could go get him? Yes. Is it safe for them to do that? If it is, then they should. By all means. They absolutely should. Is it legal? That guy's floating in the water. He's a narco terrorist. Okay. Is he a danger to anyone right now? Maybe to the sharks, they might get indigestion. But is he a danger? So he has no status because he's a non-state actor. Once we grab him out of the water, guess what we automatically give him? As the United States. No one else would do it. As
we give him the protections of the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, we give him status. We say, well, you're an illegal enemy combatant. That's why the guy goes, oh, no, I'm from Venezuela. That's why we're dumping these guys in Venezuela. Can we hold on to him and interrogate him?
Sure.
What would we get out of him?
Find out what street he lives on and who his connection on the block is.
You might be able to beat him out of, his girlfriend, his side chick. He'll give up his side chick. He won't give up his wife. He'll give up his side chick, though, right? But here's the thing. We already know everything from this guy. That's why he got blown up in the first place, because we're tracking it. There's no reason for us to blow him up unless we already know everything about it. Again, it comes down to how much did those torpedoes cost in 1941, 42, 43?
10,000.
$10,000 a piece, right? When they threw a spread, right? When a submarine threw a spread of torpedoes out that's 5 or 6. There's like 6 tubes on a submarine, right? And you don't want to fire all 6 because it takes time to reload and you might need that last round, right? It's like fire the 6 out of your revolver, save one, right? Because you might not have time to reload. And they're in a combat situation. That's $50,000. In 1941 money, he's firing a spread of 50. You think that guy didn't think about the money? You think that his bosses didn't tell him, dude, these things cost a lot of money. We don't want you wasting them. So when you're firing, I didn't look it up, but what do you think a Hellfire missile cost?
I think about 200,000, if not more.
200,000. Pay off my mortgage. All right? And you're firing it at a boat that's worth maybe $40,000. But it's got like 40 million street value and fentanyl on there. And you're blowing that up. So you're going to be very cautious about firing a $200,000 missile to blow up what we used to call in Afghanistan the village idiot. Because that's what they would do. The Taliban would come in, press gang in the village idiots, put them in front, let them fire up their 2 clips of ammunition, and stand up and get shot by the Americans or captured by the Americans. They have literally no knowledge. And some of these guys were special. Challenge. All right? And you get them. What do you get out of them? They barely knew their own mother's name. They weren't trying to hide anything. They knew nothing. They knew that one day they woke up and they were trying to clean themselves And the next thing they know, they had a rifle in their hand. The next thing they know, they're on a front line and they're pulling the trigger. And that's it, honestly. And that's it. That's it. That's all they know. They have no political or anything. So a lot of these guys, you know. All right. So we got one more quarter of the show left to come in. And I hope I'm making this stuff clear in an everyman sort of way, in a layman's terms, all right? To equate that why you're hearing what you're hearing in the press, the fear mongering and the delusions and like the 1 in a billion thing. It's the 1 in a billion thing. We found the 1 in a billion thing. Let's protect the whole world from the 1 in a billion thing.
Tune in to Big Top Sports with Derek Geyer every weeknight from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
He'll have sports thoughts from the center ring of Chicagoland and to the outer rings from across the nation.
Weather from Chicago Cubs,
White Sox,
Bulls,
Bears,
Blackhawks,
Stars,
Fire,
Boomers,
whatever the national story is of the day. Geyer and his sports czar takes will either have you nodding in agreement,
yelling at the radio,
or in all honesty,
a bit of both. With the way the Chicagoland sports and sports are in general, there's bound to be
thrills,
chills, and
oh my God moments.
So get your snacks and libations ready,
because this is going to be a wild ride.
Big Top Sports with Derek Geyer's quirky and insightful Fanatics take will make you feel a little
or a lot better about your Chicagoland sports viewing experiences.
Tune in to Big Top Sports with Derek Geyer every weeknight from 6 p.m.
to 8 p.m.
Now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com is the book called DUI Jury Trial, which is the true story of a truck driver in Illinois who was charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. Not only was he facing a revocation of his driver's license, but also a lifetime disqualification of his CDL, which would prevent him from ever driving a semi-truck again. This book includes backstories of the truck driver, the lawyers that defended the case, and the DUI expert witness who analyzed the case and then testified at trial as to the proper protocol procedures of the field sobriety tests as well as the breathalyzer test. This nonfiction novel also includes the actual court transcript from the jury trial, a courtroom showdown in which the final verdict would determine the fate of the defendant's livelihood. The book DUI Jury Trial is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
When your car needs trusted care, think All Around Auto Body in Schaumburg. Family owned for over 30 years, they deliver high-quality collision repair and dependable service from start to finish. Call 847-352-3825. They're located at 501 Morse Avenue in Unit D. Get your vehicle back in shape with the experts who care. All Around Auto Body, where your car is treated like family. Call 847-352-3825 today. Proud sponsors of America's First Responders Fest.
Get ready for Around the House every Saturday night from 5 to 7 p.m. on WRMN AM 1410. If you're a homeowner or contractor looking to tackle those projects that feel a bit too big, this is the show for you. Join Eric along with his knowledgeable guests as they dive deep into everything from DIY renovations to creating a healthy home environment. We'll provide you with the tools and tips you need to complete your projects with confidence and ease. But it's not all work and no play. We believe in having fun. Our passion for home improvement shines through as we help you save time, money, and reduce the stress of DIY. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, don't miss Around the House. Tune in every Saturday night and let's tackle those home projects together.
Fix Bannett's comrades, we're back with the last quarter of the Chief Guard of the Republic radio show with your co-hosts Mike Tooman and Paul Burvid every Saturday noon until 2 on WRMN 1410 out of Elgin and the Fox River Valley Media Network. Of course, if you're listening on radio, you know you're on 1410, so you don't got to look down at the dial there or the push button on the AM there from your 1963 Mercury Comet. And and you can, if you're watching us on YouTube Live, you can see that I have a face for radio. So, you see us here, see me and Paul. And if you're listening to us on the app on the streaming on WRMN1410.com, they have a streaming. You pull it up, boop, it's streaming. Now, I do that on my phone coming in because it's a little scratchy. I have the interference of O'Hare. Everything. But when I come in, rather than deal with all scratchiness, I just put it on WRMN.com on the browser there. I hit play here. It hooks in through the magic Bluetooth or CarPlay or whatever. Hooks into my radio there. I still have an aux cord, so if I wanted to, I could aux cord it because I have an adapter for the lightning thing. And I hear these things are all going over to USB-C. So invest in USB-C, micro USB, mini USB, lightning. It's all going to be USB-C now. That's my investment advice coming from a guy that could barely scrape 2 nickels together sometimes. All right, so where was I going with that? Again, you could watch our previous shows, and hopefully I'll be able to upload this show. But I had to give my daughter my better computer so she can do her wrestling videos. All right. So she runs a wrestling competition, and I usually work the door for that, security and the door. Anyways, so if you come down to Magoo's, it's Ultimate Combat Gauntlet, and it goes down at Magoo's, and I haven't got the schedule off of her yet, but once a month she does it down there. She has the wrestling show. And if you come in and you say, hey, I heard all about this on Chief Guard of the Republic, yeah, I'll give you a discount. I might even comp you if you come in because I run the door. And so you can watch all of our previous shows. Like I said, it might take me a little while to upload this one because my computer is considerably slower now because I'm using my laptop. I gave her my desktop so she could format the videos that she uploads to her YouTube channel and her Facebook stuff. But you can see us on Chief Guard of the Republic YouTube channel and, of course, the cgr.psylink.net. I still can't believe that no one took Psylink.net, but I own that one now. There could be a bidding war for it if you want to buy it off of me. I could be persuaded, but it needs to be considerable. All right. So, Paul, all right. So now we go to embargoes. So what do you think we're embargoing from Venezuela?
We're going to embargo oil and drugs and anything that would benefit that and possibly resources that they could turn into cash.
Yeah, and embargoes are what they call economic warfare. All right. But what are the two main arguments against embargoes?
It hurts the civilian population.
Yeah, okay. And I'll tell you why I'm kind of crying over that because it hit me in the feels. What's the other one? They don't work. That's what they say. They don't work. That's their excuse for it. Okay. Don't do it because it won't work. I'm like, okay. A lot of times something doesn't work, like socialism. Ask Venezuela, ask Cuba, Ask the former Soviet Union or anyone that lived in the former Soviet Union or one of the satellite states how well socialism worked there, right? Ask the average person in North Korea. But unfortunately, they haven't experienced anything of the real world. They're really isolated. They think North Korea is top notch. This is the best as it gets in the human world. They're so isolated. But you got to let embargoes work. You got to take the time and you got to hold off, and you can't let a black market or a rat line develop to come into Venezuela. So if we're embargoing, we got trade sanctions, kind of an embargo, but trade sanctions against Russia, right? So the only way we could really enforce that is if we put tariffs on a country buying oil from Russia. So like China buys oil from Russia through what they call their shadow fleet, right? And so does India, right? They buy oil. So now to punish them for buying the Russian oil and financing the Russian war machine via that, right? We put tariffs on them. We said, fine, we're going to tariff you. So you're going to, anything that you're saving off buying cheap Russian oil, you're going to lose because you have to trade with us. Everybody literally has to trade with us. That's why economic warfare embargoes is our best deal. Now, all right, so you let them work. The people are screaming that they don't work. No, they work. They know they work, but they're just screaming, it won't work, don't do it. Because they have other interests. They want to see a regime fail. They want to see something fail, or they have ulterior motives. So yeah, they will work. You put a guy under siege and you starve him out long enough, and here's what happens. Yes, oh my God, the people are going to suffer. But what's the one truism in this world, Paul? There's many truisms, but one of the...
It's been suffering forever, and people are going to always suffer.
People deserve the government they have. All right? New York, believe me, they're going to deserve the government they have. They all, not all, yeah, most of them deserve it. They're going to deserve it. They're going to see what happens, right? Chicago, we deserve the mayor we have. It's just true. All right? So if the people don't care, then they're complicit because they let their government exist and get away with it because the people just don't care. I don't know any better. I don't care. I didn't live any worse. I'm not living any better. It's fine. It's just the status quo. So if you don't affect the people will not affect change. You cannot go into a country and be successful if the people don't back you up for regime change. They have to take into their hands, right? They have to have ownership of it. In Afghanistan, the Northern Alliance took ownership of it. Of course, we betrayed them, in my opinion. We betrayed the Northern Alliance and Afghanistan people because I think our State Department at the time was a miserable failure. So Venezuela has a socialist form of government, right? And they have right now they have a person who won the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know her name, but she is the face of the
opposition.
The opposition, right? The opposition. So there's an opposition there, but the people need to back that. So how do we make the people back it? Well, the same thing why we had a government shutdown, right? Who was shutting down the government? One side was shutting down the government. And what was the thing? Well, that's going to cut off public aid to people. The government's going to imagine I was just thinking this because it just sounded so absurd and ridiculous to me, like total clown world. So you have people who are working in the government and not getting paid. They're told that they have to be there. And they're going to cut checks to people who aren't working from the government money, even though the people writing the checks via the computers and everything are working without getting paid. They're paying money to people who aren't working. Because some judge says it's just absurd, right? But
that makes sense in a dystopian kind of way.
It's in an absurd clown world, right? But they wanted to make their base, right? Their active base of, the people that don't care about rioting, looting, and everything else, that are, having a good old time out there. They want to make their base angry and get them out there and give them every reason to get out there and cause dissent and everything so that they could get other issues passed that support them, right? So here's the thing. We're making it miserable on Venezuelans. We're going to make it miserable on Venezuelans. So the people that are against this Maduro and pro the opposition get their base stirred up to do something. Now, when they actually, let's say well, this is special operations imperatives, right? If they actually start to go to armed conflict against, like a civil war, which I'm not advocating for a civil war, then when they establish some victories and something, we might come in to help them, right? Doing exactly what the Russians did in Ukraine. But, the Russians did an embargo. I'm sorry if I'm oversimplifying this, but being a PSYOPs guy, the people that are going to convince this guy to change his ways or to abdicate, to leave, to take the money he stole and get out of there, right? And hopefully he gets out of there and he doesn't get killed off by the same narco traffickers that he's been protecting. Because by him leaving there, he's betrayed them because he leaves them with no protection. If the opposition isn't bought and paid for already by them. So yeah, that's how embargoes work. You get the people from the country to overthrow from within. That's being played on us now. Pump a lot of people that don't care about our history, our culture, all right, our ethics, all right, our mores, our morals, everything. Pump them into our country and destroy us from within. It's easier than, an open invasion. What do you think, Paul?
Well, they've always said that the leftists said that, this is the long game. We're going to, it's going to start with your children and grandchildren. You're going to have no impact and we're going to win them over. And then you're going to be out of the picture or dead. And that's what they do. They appeal, they promise everything to everyone. And then, they initially give it. And then when they can't give it anymore, is when they become autocratic and clamp down on the freedoms. And then by then, no one's free.
Yeah, except for them.
Well,
but they're kind of trapped in the prison of their own making.
The regimes could change overnight. This guy, we'll look at what was it? Didn't they just change the phone numbers on Khrushchev? And, Khrushchev, his guy's phone numbers, he couldn't call anybody, and then he was out,
Yeah. Khrushchev was progressive West. He was progressive thinker, unlike the hardcore Stalinists. All right.
Right.
Khrushchev played his part, but he was still a believer in the communism ideal, but in a different way. Remember slamming his shoe and saying, "We're going to sell you the rope with which you hang yourselves."
Right.
And that's what, China's trying to do and everything else. He wasn't able to do it because of communism itself. It's a failure in manufacturing. I mean, you can only push a slave so far, right? Slave labor so far, because in a communist system, everyone is slave labor to the state. Some slaves are better taken care of than others, right? But they're all slaves to the state. Look at China. They're all slaves to the state. Some slaves are taken better take care of everyone else. And compared to capitalist production, they're nothing. They're nothing. It's just cheaper to buy things made by slave labor. People want cheaper. Hopefully they'll change as we do economic warfare with them. Under the guise of, hey, human rights. Your workers, your workers have got it worse now than our kids in the New York not fashion industry, but the people that make fabric.
Garment district.
Well, the fabric itself, the weavers.
Textiles.
Textiles. The little kids working in textiles. The Chinese labor, the Malaysian labor, all that. They all have it worse. Than the worst time in the United States, it's worse over there. And they still can't compete. So I would, going back to that, tariffs and embargoes form of economic warfare, using that economic warfare to make life miserable for the people under the country that's making life bad for you, doing bad things, and you don't like it, making them miserable enough for them to do something. It's kind of like terrorism, because terrorists create such a level of fear that the government has to become absolutely autocratic, absolutely, nanny state, overlooking everything you do, regulating everything, because they're trying to look for that one little terrorist out of 100,000, 1 million people, to keep that 999,999 safe from one guy, so they make life miserable for everyone else. It's like we're basic training. I remember it to this day because it was funny. The drill sergeant had it. He had it nailed, right? So he would stop the platoon because we weren't marching right. We weren't listening to the orders. We're still new guys, right? And he would go pick out one guy. He'd go, you over there, stand aside. And the guy would leave the formation. He goes, everyone else drop. We'd be pushing Missouri to China. Keep pushing, And he says, there is no mass punishment in the Army. I'm not punishing him. It's like in the government. There is no mass punishment in the government. I'm not punishing myself. Because I made these laws, but they don't apply to me. Apply to everyone else, like Congress does, right? Everyone else got to get the shot. Not us. Not us. See, it wasn't draconian because we didn't. So if you make it the government like that, the terrorism actually looks more free. Hey, look, these guys do whatever they want. I want their form of government because our government really sucks. It's really like that we're the terrorists now. So when you do that economic warfare on that, you make that government look weak and everything else that people want to overthrow it. All right, the psyops to make them change their own government. Like the terrorists would. Okay, they blow something up. Okay, we stop letting you have food. It's like, we put in these oil-rich countries. Now Venezuela could be self-sufficient on food. Absolutely self-sufficient. But no one would work because someone so the kid's story, right? About the chicken. Mama chicken goes out and she wants to bake some bread. So she goes to the barn animals. Hey, can you help me gather some grain? Because I want to make some bread. And, I'm too busy, right? So she gathers the grain herself. She goes, hey, do you want me to help me grind the grain into flour? I'm too busy, right? She grinds the grain into flour herself. You want to help me knead the dough? No one wants to. You want to help me get the fire? No one wants to. But when she bakes the bread, everyone wants to eat it. Right? So that's the thing. You bake the bread all on your own, and your neighbors are coming, and everyone's coming, and first thing the government does is takes their 90% slice and leaves you 10% for all your labor, and then they pass out the first 90% of the 90% to their friends, and then the rest of the people in need get to divvy up what's left.
I had a friend. He was one of the members of the band The Effigies, but he was also a prosecutor. And he was one of the people that was shot during that 4th of July parade. But tragically, he died a ways after that in a bicycle accident. But this was when people were complaining, I guess, at Chicago Fest or whatever. They said that, they were storming the gates. Yeah, they were storming the gates, and they were saying the music should be free. And you know what he said? He said they're right, but who pays the band?
The band should do it for free because they want everyone. Most of those band members want you to give away all your labor for free.
Right. But that's not free when you're making the band work for free.
Is Bono giving free concerts?
Not that I ever saw.
Oh, no. But he wants you to pay taxes to give foreign aid, right?
Right.
Hey, why does he go have a concert, take every cent that he makes, tell the band, tell the music guys, tell the sound guys, tell your grips, everyone and lifting the everything, everyone truck driving, people selling, distributing, advertising, say, sorry, suck it up. I'm giving all the money to Ethiopia every time. You guys suck it up. Write it off as a tax loss. Think everyone would work for him again?
No.
But he wants you to do that. I have compassion. I give to charities that I choose to give to. I'm hardcore Roman Catholic, but I don't think the cardinal should be choosing where my money that I donate to my parish, that he could give that to some non-Catholic organization. So I choose not to give that way. I choose to give to charities of my choice that I believe in. That's what we, but the government thinks that they give to everyone, right? Even though that stuff should be, honestly, every form of public aid, international aid that goes out there should be a referendum vote. Don't even go through Congress. Don't go to the Senate. Just have an election. Put it on a referendum. You get 51%. They want a democracy, right? You get 51%, that country gets the money. You get 49%, they don't get nothing. That's a democracy, right, Paul?
Right.
All right, any last words?
Yeah, I'd like to say to Brendan and Dennis and Downtown Jose, thanks for your comments, and everybody have a great week.
Yeah. Heading in the tariff of the United States. Textiles, the largest tariff. Oh, yeah, I forgot that Dennis was, Cleveland Dennis was highly, he should be like an expert guy. Maybe next week he'll call in to be an expert on the textile industry. I forgot about that. All right, so something will happen next week that'll get me upset. Just remember, life is sacred. Life is sacred. No matter how poor it is, no matter how bad it is, whatever, life is absolutely sacred. Thank you for listening.